I got a beautiful 1971 Hemi Cuda convertible that just came in, but the engine's such a big mess. On a 426 Hemi crate engine, getting overhauled here at Nick's Garage. Welcome to my shop. My name is Nick, and here we are at Nick's Garage. A couple of weeks ago, a beautiful 71 Hemi Cuda tribute car came in from Sudbury, Massachusetts. Raymond, the owner of the car, brought it here because we had an issue with the noise in the motor. So anyways, I just wanted to go into details because, when you got a beautiful car like that, you're driving around, it's your cruiser, and then when you open the hood, you see a Hemi. You expect it to be super nice. It's a convertible, it's got a shaker, it's got a 5-speed, it's got a Dana 60, beautiful white interior, console, rally dash. And you open the hood, and to my personal opinion, this is ugly. I don't care what people think. There's a lot of things here I don't like. First of all, a car like that, this engine should look like this. And this is our goal. This is what the engine's gonna look like when it's done. What you see here, and I'm gonna be doing a few of them for other projects, and this is what the Hemi should look like. This is what the car deserves. So I'm gonna put my gloves on. I'm gonna get to work. First of all, I'm gonna take a sip of a coffee that Melissa has sent us. Thank you, Melissa. Great coffee. And I just got a hot cup right now. And I also want to thank our viewers that sent this cup to us also. So I'm going to put on my garden gloves because, I'm tired of washing my hands 30 times a day. So let's get started. I just wanted to show you guys, before we pulled the engine out of the car, we had the valve cover removed to see where the problem is. So this is where the problem is, right here. We had a few push rods removed. I want to show you the damaged push rods that came out of the car, out of the engine. Here, this one has no cup left, and this one has a half a cup left. The reason is, like I was telling Ray, that the push rods are too long. Not only are they too long, when you got a bent push rod like so, like this, let me just roll it. See that? Like these are straight, look at that. These are no problem. So, having a bent push rod, most likely you have a bent valve. And not only that, we also want to know why the thing is full of oil leaks. I know the rear seal is leaking, the back of the intake manifold is leaking oil. So then he told me, no, Nick, just tear it apart, and if you take whatever it needs, just do it. So I told him that I'm gonna get going on it, I wanna detail it, and I wanna make it correct. Now, this is not exactly an engine from an old car. This is a crate engine. And when you buy crate engines, they come to be working with less compression to run on pump gas, have vacuum for power brakes. But anyways, for some reason, as I go along, I'm gonna show you what I don't like. And having a 426 Hemi underneath the hood, for me, is something very special. I've lived with Hemis all my life, and it's such a rare engine, such a beautiful engine. It's a muscle engine, and it's gotta look good. It's gotta run good. And this, for example, is not exactly to my standards. It is a Hemi, it's a beautiful car. So there's a few things I wanna knock off. I wanna show you what should be on the car in the first place. I'm gonna go into those details in a minute. But first, let's take out a few things that I don't like. First of all, these blue wires, spark plug wires. You know what I think of them? I'll show you what I think of them. First of all, don't mind the spark plugs, I took them out earlier. I wanted to show you guys something. And of course, if you want to take a good look here, if you look at the distributor, I don't know what kind of a distributor it is. I don't think it's a Chrysler distributor. You got this clip locking the cap. I did not move the distributor yet. Then you got the clip in the back that you cannot lock it in place. For some reason, the intake manifold's in the way. I've been trying to push it on and been busting it, and I couldn't get it to lock. So I kind of really forced it. But anyways, let's take off the wiring. And first of all, when the wiring goes back on, we're gonna put Chrysler Corporation wiring, which are black with yellow lettering. Even though it's not an original Hemi car, you still gotta make it look good. So I'm gonna take this off, which I know very well I'm not gonna use again. So what do I think about this? I'll show you what I think about this. Here. We're not gonna use that anymore. Now, let's take out the distributor. Before I take it apart any further, I just wanted to show you some things, you guys. Let's take the ignition coil. You open the hood, the first thing you see is the ignition coil and bracket. Now, I don't know what this is, but this is what it should have. It should have a nice zinc-plated bracket with a nice black coil like this, like an old Chrysler coil, okay? That's the first thing we're gonna replace. Second, we're gonna put a nice electronic controlled distributor made from Mopar, which my brother's got it for me. My brother supplied all the parts that I need for the engines that I build here in my shop. And this distributor is gonna go. We're not gonna use this. I have no idea what kind of a distributor it is. So this is what we're gonna install after, with a brown cap, which is genuine, originally brown cap back in '71. Then, also, the bracket that holds down the distributor should be like so, zinc plated, with a cut-off corner, which is for a Hemi. This is a 33440. Doesn't matter, we're gonna replace that also. We're gonna replace the distributor, coil bracket, coil, and then again, let's go to the thermostat housing. What I really don't like is the bolts. When they have no markings on them, they're a cheap grade bolt. And when you want to tighten a bolt like that, and if it breaks, you know, you're gonna go through all the fuss drilling and tapping and helicoiling and whatever. So if you're gonna replace the thermostat housing, this is what I use, a genuine piece with the original bolts, like so. And all these parts I'm showing you guys are gonna end up on this engine. And now, let's go to the fuel pump. If you look at it, this is made for a 383 and a 440. And then when it comes to a Hemi, it's a special mechanical fuel pump, like so. And it also comes with the genuine original fuel pump bolts. These are the correct fuel pump bolts that you need to use when you put this engine together. It also is gonna have a vapor separator gas filter. But anyways, when this engine gets done, we're gonna put it back on video and I'm gonna show you the finished touch. But anyways, I'm just showing you how many things are wrong with this. And I can keep going on and on and on, but I'm just showing you a few things. Another thing we're gonna do, because my customer recommended for 1971, 1 year only, had a mechanical choke cable. This here, this is converted to electric. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove all that, and I know very well the 71 Hemi Cuda came with a choke cable. So I'm looking for a linkage for mechanical choke, which I've found one, which I'm gonna buy it, and then make it work like it did it back in 1971. Now, we're gonna slowly but surely take it apart. Like I said earlier, I've taken out the spark plugs and the valve cover before, so I could determine if or not to take the engine out of the car. Here we go. If you take a look right here, that the cup of the push rod is too close to the rocker. This is the reason why the push rod cup keeps breaking, because the push rods are too long. And then we took the other one out on cylinder number 4, the cup was broken and also the push rod was bent. So there's a good chance the valve might be bent, or maybe a few other valves, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna start taking it all apart, right down, and start from scratch. And another thing I wanted to show you, you know when you have the 71 E-body, the heater hoses, one is a 1/2 inch, one is 5/8. Like so. If you guys could take a good look, if you can see through the, here, if you take a good look, one hose is 5/8, one hose is 1/2 inch. If you take a good look, both these nipples are 5/8. That's gonna be 5/8. This one here is gonna be a 1/2 inch. So I put a reducer, like so. So I can put the 1/2 inch hose, because if you look at the firewall, the 2 heater pipes that come out of the heater is 1/2 inch, 5/8. So when you got a hose 5/8 and a 1/2 inch, you want to do the same for the engine. So this we're saving for Raymond's Hemi. And another common piece that I find very often is the plug right here. This is a common plug, but the correct one is this one here that goes on the water pump housing. You know, if you want to make something look nice and original, use the right stuff. And you know, there's information on the internet that you can find to make a Hemi engine completely detailed. So for like this here, what they had over here is a plain plug made out of brass. But this is the correct one, and this is what we're gonna use. You know, it's all these little things that make the difference. It's all in the little fine details. You know, when you open up a hood, you know, you want it to look nice. You know, you go to a car show because you want to show off your car. You don't want to show messy wires, greasy stuff, oil leaks. You want to present something beautiful, like a piece of jewel or a piece of a souvenir. It looks so nice. you want up on the hood, you want to show the engine's nice, clean, wires tucked in, clips in the right place, the wiring is the right color, and everything works, That's the purpose of going to a car show. You want to show it off, not show off something that's this messy. Now, in my words, this is a mess. I couldn't show this. If I were to go to a car show, I would never have opened this hood. But in this case, I want to make it beautiful, so when Raymond takes it to a car show, open the hood, and be proud of it. I want to detail it as best as I can. And another thing that he's also got missing is the heat tubes, which I'm going to have them on order, which are missing. Even though we don't use them for the car, they're going to be used. They're designed by Chrysler for winter driven. If you look in the back of the engine, there it is. The heat tubes are missing. This is the incorrect power brake booster fitting. And of course, all these brackets on the intake manifold should be orange, just like the engine. I like details. I want to make it as nice as possible because there's so much beauty into a 426 Hemi or any other engine, it doesn't matter. And when you have such a beautiful engine, and it's not a cheap engine, it's an expensive engine, it's a muscle car engine, you want it to look beautiful, you want it to look nice. And of course, you want it to perform very well also. There's a few things I really don't like on this, but you know what? Let's take it slowly right now and take it apart and see what else we can find. What do you say? You want to join me? I'm staying here after hours. The shop is closed. As you can see, no one's here. I can accept myself. So I decided to stay here late tonight, tear down this 426 Hemi for you viewers to watch what's going on and what's in there. Okay? Let's go. I want to start by, I just want to remove the thermostat housing just to check fast. I was telling you earlier that we're not going to use this housing. We're not going to use these bolts. I never use bolts like this because when they have no markings, they're very, very cheap. So for that reason, I'm going to throw them out. I got a bucket there that's scrap metal, and that's where they belong. All right, here's another thing I want to know. There we go. 180 degrees Fahrenheit thermostat. That is the correct thermostat. Yes. Anyways, we always put brand new thermostat, so this also is going to go in the scrap. I just wanted to read the number, which is correct. 180 degrees Fahrenheit is what I use on all my muscle car engines. But this is an old one, we're scrapping it. Let's take off the coil. I've loosened the bolts earlier anyways. Let me get rid of this coil. This bracket is not going back. And these things stand out right in front of you. You see everything, and you want it to look nice. Here we go. Now let's take out that ugly distributor or whatever it is. And since the car came into the shop, the first thing I wanted to get rid of was the distributor. I don't know what kind of distributor this is, but one thing I can't wait to do is get rid of it. So let's take it off. I have no idea what it is. We're not going to work with this one anymore. Also, like I said earlier, we're going to we are going to replace the bracket. This is a 3440, not a Hemi. I got the Hemi, and it's supposed to be zinc plated, not black. And now let's take a look at this distributor. Let's see, I have no idea what this is, and I wanted to take it off the day it came here with this car. What is this? You know what? I don't know what this is. It's electronic ignition, but when you have a Hemi, there's no room for it to lock the distributor cap. Anyways, maybe this would be good for another job, but in this application, this is not going back. Okay, let's take off the water pump pulley. I've loosened the bolts earlier. Okay, I don't know what this is. It's a nut from I don't know where. And there's also special bolts that go to the fan clutch to the water pump pulley. These are incorrect, which I'm also going to replace. Here we go. And that fuel pump is going to come off next. If you look at it, you guys, a crate engine does not come like a street Hemi 6671 with a thick damper. This is a crate engine because you got a thin damper. So this way, when you have this damper from the crate motor, you could put 440 water pump and crank pulley, much easier for installation. So we're going to keep the same pulleys as a 440 because It's got a crate, engine, harmonic balancer. So we'll mix it. It is your installation. Because if you want to buy a Hemi water pump pulley and a Hemi pulley on the crank, it's very expensive. So if you got the 440 stuff, a lot cheaper, it works with this. You know what? For some reason, I don't know why some of these parts are on it. You know, there's so much parts available for the big block Mopar, like the distributor, 440, Hemi, it's the same thing. Pulleys, not on a Hemi, but on a 440, they bolt onto this crate motor, not a problem. It's got the aluminum water pump, but anyway, we're gonna remove all that. And now I just wanna remove the fuel pump. And for some reason, it's got two different bolts on it. Let's see why. Here we go. I'm gonna start with the inner bolt. For some reason, it's got a 3/8 bolt. I do not know why. I've never seen this before. This is a header bolt. You know, he probably put it in because he couldn't fit a bolt in the back with a 9/16 head. But I've done so many, they do fit. So we're not gonna put this header bolt back on. Let's take off the fuel pump. On the other bolt, it's 9/16. Let me get it off. You know, yeah, there's a lot of bolts are incorrect on this motor. And this fuel pump is also wrong. And it's got some fuel pressure, right? We know that pump still works. But anyways, we're not putting it back. We're gonna put back a Hemi pump when we're done. Here we go. And there we go. Okay, next. Let me take off this valve cover. Now let's make sure we get all the push rods out. Okay, here we go. Take a little 30-second coffee break. I gotta thank our viewers and listen, everybody that sends us coffee. I just love it. Okay, here we go. We need a 9/16 key, wrench, I should say. And I wanted to share tell folks, after working on so many engines in my life, this is my favorite key. Very common used. It's a snap-on key. On one end, it's 1/2 inch, 12 corner, and the other end is 9/16 12 corner. And it's got the right angle, the bends to it, and this wrench works for many, many engine jobs that I've done all my life on these American V8s. Okay, let's go. Well, that's pretty tight. Here we go. Okay, let's take off. We're gonna take out all the push rods right now. I've taken out a few already. Looks like we're gonna put 16 new push rods on this engine when we're done. Okay, let's go on the other side. Yeah, you see that? That's way too long. Those push rods are way too long, especially on the exhaust side. You know, this is right now, as we are speaking in my shop, I've got 6 426 Hemis I am working on at the same time. One of them are waiting for parts, and the other ones are all under construction. But you know what? As the motors come in, I'll get them done. As long as the parts come in, I get them all done. Only waiting for parts. Here's another push rod, you see? When you see it getting rounded off like that, you know it's hitting. It should be a perfect cup like so. But anyways, we know that the issue with this is the exhaust push rods are too long. And of course they bend a few valves, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna take the cylinder heads off. I wanna take the piston pistons off, and I wanted to go into the camshaft because this car has a vacuum booster, electronic vacuum booster to make the power brakes work. Like I've told many clients of mine, when I build an engine, a lot of guys are cruisers. So you want to put a camshaft with a little rumble, with a little bit of power, and enough vacuum for power brakes. What we did here the other day, we spent quite a while to remove a lot of wiring and a big vacuum pump that was situated underneath the battery tray. Why? All that worked because of this cam. So this cam is not going to be something I really like. I could tell right away. Also, a crate engine does not come with these retainers and does not come with these valve springs. For some reason, we know somebody's done some work here. I can't wait to take it apart and see what I got inside. So we're going to take off the carburetors. They're loosened up already. Then I want to remove the intake manifold, water pump, and keep going and see what we got. I'm just going to start by removing the carburetors, but I want to remove the intake manifold. And these are nice, genuine AFB carburetors on a Hemi. And if they need any tuning or cleaning, we're going to do that also. Let's start by removing the intake manifold. I'm going to use some power tools. Why? After all, you know, we're getting older. There's a lot of bolts. I got the tool here. Why not? Yeah, it's quite a few bolts for the intake manifold. I figured I'll save some time by using power tools. Okay. No, they're not the correct bolts, of course. But you know what? They're good bolts. They're grade 8 with a 6 stripe. Just wanted to show you guys what I mean by grade 8 bolt. Let me just find one that's very clean so I can show you. Here's one. When you see a bolt with 6 stripes, that's a grade 8 bolt. It's very strong, which is very good. These brackets are all going to come off. They're supposed to be all orange. The accelerator bracket, the 2 brackets to hold the springs. He's also missing the bracket that comes over here, which has a bridge, which holds the 4 spark plug wires. That is missing. That we're going to supply after, just like they have it in the picture. All right, now let's remove the intake manifold. Here we go. Let's see if there's any surprises. Let me move my coffee over. I'll put it right here. Okay, here we go. It's got the heat shield. Look at that, the heat shield's missing. There's a heat shield missing here. Now, the same thing goes for Jordan's Hemi. I removed the intake manifold on Jordan's 426 Hemi, which is the detailed car, which is a matching motor. And here's another one without the heat shield. So now I need to place an order for 2 of them. One for Raymond, one for Jordan. And look at that. Am I surprised it's not missing, or is it missing? Look at that, you guys, unreal. Anyways, there you have it. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to keep the hot oil away from the engine. But for this reason, it's not there. That's why all these holes are there to be bolted on. So we got 2 pieces to look for. One for Jordan, and of course, now I need one for Raymond. There's another boo-boo. This is little details that count. Oh, let's see what we got in here now. Okay. Here's a gasket. No big deal. Me, what I'm curious to see is what camshaft is in there. All right, I'm just gonna rip off the water pump housing right away. There we go. Okay, this is the last bolt. Maybe I should have taken off the nipple, would have been easier, but anyways, I'm almost there. There we go. With the heat shield missing from underneath the intake manifold, you're losing power. You know, you want to keep the hot oil from splashing underneath the intake manifold where there's a big storm in here, and all the hot oil sitting in the intake manifold is heating up the air and the fuel going into the cylinder heads. That is the reason why Chrysler put a heat shield. That's what they call it, a heat shield. Anyways, so yes, any damage? No. But loss of power? Yes. Okay, let's take off the filter while we're at it. And there we got I just want to say something. You know, it's got a Fram oil filter on it. And for some reason, when I show a Fram filter on our channel, a lot of viewers are not happy with it. I don't know why. You know, I've used Fram before. I never had any issues. But the thing is, a lot of my viewers just don't like the Fram oil filter. Why? I don't know. But anyways, doesn't matter. We are not going to put it back in. Let's get rid of it. And let's start dismantling my engine. I won't remove the oil pump. I don't need to. The oil pressure was fine, so I'll leave that on. Okay, there's another thing here now we got a problem with. Hemis come with head bolts, nut studs. They come with head bolts. So does a crane engine. So does a street Hemi engine. But for some reason, this one has studs. Now, if you were to remove all the nuts and pull off the head, you can't do it because the 426 Hemi has intake studs. You're going to see why. Let me start dismantling it slowly, and you're going to see why. I'm just going to remove the exhaust manifolds, which is one of the best parts what I love about this car. There is no headers, only exhaust manifolds. I love it. And for that reason, I enjoy working on this one. Okay, let's take off the manifold. I'll start with this one. You know what? What I love about these, they look like headers. And they're such a charm to work with, let me tell you. Look at that, beautiful stuff. Here we go. Let's take off the other side too. Go. There's the other one. Isn't that a beautiful design exhaust? This is a beautiful design exhaust manifold. It's like a header design. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to start cracking all the studs on the passenger side cylinder head. This has studs, so I'm going to have to remove all the nuts on the studs, and then I'm going to remove the studs, because it's not going to slide out because we have 4 studs on the inside, because this is a typical Hemi with the studs on the inside where the lifter valley is. So let me crack a few bolts on the inside. Like you see, this 440s don't have this. This is where it's inside the engine. Right here. I got to crack the inside first. Well, no, I don't know why. You know, usually studs on a cylinder head would be in many cases where you have a lot of compression or supercharged or turbocharged. In this application for a street cruiser, it is not necessary. And I was telling Raymond that, there's no purpose for this. It's a lot of money wasted for nothing. But anyways, I believe I'm going to go back with head bolts after when we're done. But in the meantime, I'm going to remove everything and take a look. I found studs on the other Hemi on the main caps. There's no reason. The original factory bolts do the job for this application. There was no reason to do this. You know what? To each his own. Everybody has his own thing. So it doesn't matter. It's just that I'm trying to save you guys money. In some cases, you don't need to spend money for this. All right. I've cracked the studs. Let me get my ratchet. And here we go. Now, if these were head bolts, they would have been all done already. But now we have to remove the nuts, and now we have to take an Allen wrench, or should I say an Allen socket, and pull out the studs one by one, like so. Like I said earlier, it's an overkill. These are studs. So we're gonna remove them all one by one. Just to let you guys know, I'll show you something. We had all the nuts removed. Now, if you want to remove the cylinder head, I'm going to show you why you cannot. I am going to remove the inner stud nuts completely. Take the inside out. Take them out. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go pick up a magnet in a minute. We need a magnet, so here we go. Now the studs on the inside is genuine original on the inside. Always have studs. That's the way they come from Chrysler. All 426 Hemis. On the outside, which is underneath the valve cover, are just genuine cylinder head bolts. But anyways, come on, it's got a lot of thread there. This is what people do, you know, sometimes they want their own personal touch, they do their own thing. But in this case, I don't know why. You know, the original bolts would have done the job. But you know what, some people want to do a little bit different things, which I don't blame them. Everybody has his own thing. But if someone's telling you wants it the way it came from the factory, you want to do it exactly the way it came from the factory. That's all. You know, some guys want to fix up on a different basis, on stronger, different colors, or whatever. I'll do what the customer wants. You know, I'm one of the guys that like for genuine stuff. I've been at that, I brought up like that. You know, I've done a lot of modifications, depending on what you want to do. If you want to race the car, of course, then you go away from originality. So this one here, it seems like this stud wants to come out with the nut completely. Usually when I put the inner studs, I put Loctite, so that when you unscrew the nut on the inside in the lifter valley, that the stud stays with the head and the nut comes out. But in this case, come on, here we go. The whole stud came out. Okay, look. Now, I removed the nuts, and of course the head's not gonna come out. I doubt it very much. Let me crack it loose. No, it won't move. It's not gonna move. You see, would have been a lot easier if we had head bolts, but you know what? Doesn't matter. It's not gonna crack loose. I just gotta do every stud out of place. Let me get my ratchet. Ready to go. Here it is. Here we go. And this is gonna take some time. Here we go. Okay, we got the rocker shaft off. So let me just remove the studs. This to be, oh, there we go. Got that one out. And now let's see if we can crack it loose. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so let me find a location to put the cylinder head somewhere. Let me move these push rods out of here. Like so. I'll put them over here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, these retainers, these valve springs are not what I recommend for a street cruiser. Okay, there we go. What do we got? It's got the factory shim gasket, which is 20 thou, which is correct. And now let's take a look at the chambers. If you guys take a good look, this thing was running very, very rich. Everything's black. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's now, okay, let's see now. Let's see what we got here. Wow, it's running super rich from what I see. Is it a standard bore? I'll just take a vernier, take a fast look. At the same time, I want to get my magnet and also the thing to pull up my lifters. And you know, being a crate engine, it should be standard bore. Why? Because you know, a crate engine came out a few years ago, like 20 years ago or so, in this particular model that I know of, and there should be a standard bore. I'm just going to take a quick look with my vernier. And it should be a 4.250, which is standard bore for a 426 Hemi. So what I see here, yep, it's a 1/4 inch bore. So it's a standard bore. It came from the factory, from Chrysler Mopar Performance with these pistons. So we know it's the original pistons that came with the crate engine. Okay, I'm gonna just take out the lifters one by one. And here's an issue I got with a stud. Well, this one is not gonna come apart. I gotta use, anyways, I'll take care of that later on. Okay, here we go. I gotta remove, I'm just gonna remove all the lifters for now. I'm curious to see what kind of a camshaft this engine has. I'm very, very curious. Oh my God, look at this one. Wow. Check this out. This cam is wiped out. Okay, you can see it's like a cup. So we know that the cam is wiped out. Let me just pull out another lifter. And this one, you see, this is perfectly flat. If you take a look at both of them, you see the difference? This one is not worn out. This one is worn out. So as we can see, we sure need a new cam. And you know, I really wanted to get rid of this cam. I didn't like it. And for this reason, I don't know why I'm saving the lifters. I could mix them up, put them anywhere I wish, because I have no reason to use them whatsoever. So we got one cam lobe that's wiped out from what I see. Let me take out some more. I really don't think so. If the push short was involved with this, yes and no, but you know what? I'm not so sure. But this is something that was wiped out because maybe the cam they're not breaking correctly. Maybe they're not using the correct oil with zinc. I'm not so sure. And from what I see, this engine does not have much mileage. It is a crate engine. And I know this is one of the modern blocks, which is a good motor, which is a later model made in the new millennium in the 2000 plus year. So let's take out the cam and see what we got. This one has a rough finish on it. Here's another one. Doesn't look the greatest. You can see it has a rough finish on it. It's pitted. Okay, so what I'm going to do is right now, I'm not going to remove this cylinder head. All I want to do is right now, I'm going to remove the camshaft. So we're going to start in the front. Take the damper off, harmonic balancer, and the timing cover, timing chain, and then from there we're going to pull out the cam. So we've got the lifters here. Goodbye lifters. Let's get the damper off. So let's remove the harmonic balancer. All right, here we go. You know, as we all know, the crankshaft harmonic balancer is press fit on the big block Mopars. So we got that out. And now, timing cover. Here we go. Let's take off the 4 upper bolts, which are 1/2 inch. Okay, let's rip off the cover now. Like I've always said, you guys, when you pull out a pan, valve cover, timing cover, always knock it loose where the bolts go through. This way, when you put it back, as you bolt it in, it bends it back in place for you. So you don't go in between the two bolts. Go where the bolts are. That's the best way to do it. There you go. There we go. It's got the slinger. There we go. One of the slingers right here. Next. Okay, let's take out the timing chain. This is a double roller timing chain, which they all come with the 426 Hemi always comes with the double roller chain. So let's take it off so I can get to the camshaft. You guys are wondering, what is that white powder that's coming out with the bolts? It is Loctite, which is a very good idea to put Loctite when you put the bolts on a camshaft gear. Okay, here we go. We got this is off. This one's stuck here with the Loctite. Anyways, I'll take it off after. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Oh. I forgot to remove the fuel pump push rod in the gear. This is the oil pump drive. We're going to reuse that again. And now I just got to remove the fuel pump push rod, then we'll pull out the cam. Okay, here we go. So when you have a mechanical fuel pump, you need this push rod that rides off the cam, or rides off a lobe. So for that reason, you got to remove that to get the cam out. And right now, let's pull up the camshaft and let's see what we've got. You know, if it's got to have numbers on it, this is a camshaft. All right, here we go. Let's get a ride. Take a look. It's got a number on it. I have to look it up. It's a 292 hydraulic. It's got a number on it. I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't know what this is. Doesn't even say who makes it. I see two letter C's, ComCam maybe. Hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. All I know is one thing, that this cam is going in the scrap. This one here is wiped out, right here. If you guys take a look, this one here is almost flat. You can see it. If you look at the next one, it's pointy. Can you see it? And then if you look at the next lobe, it's almost flat. So that means the cam is wiped out. On the lifter that had the mushroom or cup or dish lifter, now you know that this cam is finished. And you know what? This cam did not provide any vacuum for the power brakes. And for this reason, we're not gonna put this back in. I'm gonna put this with my scrap metal because it's no good for anything. And that's it. And now, I just wanna, this comes out also for the timing chain. I've drained the oil on this oil pan. I've drained the oil earlier. Now, I'm not gonna turn the engine over because there's always about 1 quart of oil left in here. We drained it. I've not removed the pan yet. I only removed a few bolts just to save some time. I'm gonna remove the rest of the bolts, take it down, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. Now, if we take a good look, this engine should have a windage tray. All Hemis, all V8 muscle car engines from Chrysler have a windage tray. I said it over and over and over and over. I don't know why. Why they put so much silicone. Oh. Just to show you guys. Even though the gasket does the job, they still, I always find this with every engine teardown. You got a gasket that does the job, but then you put silicone or glues, and this is why I spend a lot of time cleaning gaskets on engine parts. It is unreal. Anyways, I'm gonna have to separate the windage tray from the oil pan. It's stuck on, it's glued or whatever. Here, I don't wanna drop it. I know it's got oil in it. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, it's stuck on. Come on. Doesn't matter. At least we got it off. Here we go. Here, this is what I wanted to say. You guys, even though I've drained the oil, look what's still in it. There's still maybe half a quarter of oil still in it. And this is what I was trying to tell you guys, that the gasket, you don't need to put silicone or glue all the way around. This is ridiculous. You know, when I see this, I get aggravated because it shows you the guy who builds this engine. I don't care, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it over and over. Like, I've done a lot of engines. I only put a tab of silicone where the timing chain cover meets the block and the retainer where it meets the block. Just a little tab, a little 1 ounce. Not put gasket glue or silicone everywhere. This is a big no-no for all these guys that do this for no reason. You know, I build a lot of engines. You know, I've got a lot of engines out there. Take them apart. See if you find silicone like that. No way, no way. This is stupid. You know, you know what it is? I am, look at that, look at this. I am fed up. I am fed up every time I take apart an engine. 99% it has glue, silicone everywhere. And I put a lot of time in removing the glue and all that. And by the way, this is a windage tray. It's with the engine, so that's good news. And now, I'm just gonna turn it over. I just wanna see what kind of connector rods that has. I know this is gonna be a little bit messy, but who cares? Here we go. Okay, isn't this nice and messy? Look at that, eh? Look at that. For all you guys that want to know something, it's a one-piece gasket. It's flat. You make sure your oil pan is flat, and your windage tray, of course, is nice and straight. The only place you put a tab of silicone is right here, there, and there, where the timing chain cover meets the block, and at the same time, at the rear retainer, where the retainer meets the block. That's all you need. You don't have to fill it in. Look at this, for example. Look at this. Why is there silicone where the bolts are? Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna have to dig it out to find the bolts. I have to dig it out. Anyways, the reason I wanted to turn it over, I wanted to see what kind of connector rods it has. It has the, it's also written STD on the crankshaft, which means standard, so I'm sure they're standard bearings. I don't think I have to go any further, but I will take it apart in the meantime. But I know it's one thing, that these got good connector rods. I don't think it's spun bearing because we had this engine running. And it's got a major oil leak in the back. I'm sure the bearings are all good, but that doesn't matter. We're gonna refresh this engine no matter what. It is a Mopo Performance block over the counter. It's a heavy duty block. it looked pretty messy on the outside, but from the internals, I see it's all the way, from the internals, I see that it's the way it came from Chrysler. It's pretty good. It's got standard bore pistons. I'll take them out to maybe hone the block, just put new rings. I see the crank, the rods are all in good shape. So this is the way it was from the factory when Motor Performance assembled it. The oil pressure is good before I've taken out the engine out of the car. So it's pretty good. I just wanted to see what kind of pistons it has, what kind of, if there's anything in the oil pan. Let's take a look. Looks pretty good. The oil is black. Is there any shavings in there or anything? No. I could take apart the oil filter, but then again, I don't think so. But from what I see, I just wanted to know. So we know that this major problem with this car, besides being detailed, is the camshaft. So we're gonna get rid of this camshaft, put them on ice cam, then of course, put it together, clean it, put it together, detail it, and then run it on the dyno. After we finish with it and everything goes well, this engine's gonna look just as good as the car does. And then Ray, when you go to a car show, you don't have to be, you don't have to worry about opening the hood, because you know the car looks just as good as it looks on the outside. When you open the hood, you'll be proud to open the hood and show it off. And of course, the most important thing is when you start her up, you want to have a nice rumble and a good running engine. And from what I see, the internals are good. On the outside, it's a mess. We're going to do a few changes, get rid of that cam, get rid of the distributor, the wiring. And I've told you before, and I've said this too many times, I've seen a few crate engines with the blue wiring, spark plug wiring, that sometimes as you drive, they pop out of the valve cover, out of the spark plug. So those spark plug wires, I've seen them, they're no good for anything. I'm gonna throw them out. I'm gonna get another set of spark plugs, and we're gonna do a refresh on this. So you guys, there you have it. 1971 Hemi Cuda convertible, all the way from Sudbury, Massachusetts. Ray, I wanna give you a big thank you for letting us take it apart, look into it, and give us the opportunity to refresh it, detail it, dyno it, and if everything goes well, throw it back into your car. And there you have it, you guys. Thanks for watching us here on Nick's Garage. And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content, and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time. All right, you guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to push that bell button, you guys. Come on, subscribe. Let's go. Thank you very much.
It's another busy week in Nick's Garage. The shop is full of good stuff. And there's a big 440 on the dyno, waiting to come back to life.
We had to rebuild the engine for Mike with that 68 Coronet. That's the engine with the, we found the bolt damaged inside the chamber with the piston.
Oh my God, there's a bolt in there.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me.
Didn't touch, oh there it is. Oh my God.
Mike, you broke the piston. Oh my God. I took the engine, we took it all apart. As you noticed in the previous video, there was damage on the piston in the chamber. So what we did is, we had the 8 pistons replaced, the 8 connector rods replaced with eagle rods, 8 flat top pistons. We had the crankshaft checked, it was good, solid. We had it cut under 10 undersides, we had it balanced. Then we had to build this engine with cast iron heads, which are the 452 castings, which are good for unleaded fuel. So I had them ported out with 214 intake valves, and then I'm having it planed down to 81 cc's, and the block is 20 thou deck height with a 39 gasket, and I'm ready to do a test with his exhaust manifolds and his cast iron intake. I also painted it turquoise blue, like the way it was in 68, that he wanted me to make the color the way it came from the factory. So now we're gonna break in the cam. So I'm gonna make the initial start right now, and I'm gonna use my carburetor to break in the cam, as I know it works. And then I've got his Elderbach 4-barrel, which is right here. So in case it doesn't work properly, I don't want to take a chance. And for that reason, this is why we put my carburetor as a break-in for the cam. Mike, this is your engine. Here it is on the dynamometer. So I can't wait to get it started and see how it goes. And I'm hoping to get the 400 horsepower like we have done with the Mule engine. So you wanted a copy of the same engine I built for my Kawasaki. So here it is. And I've also replaced the valve covers that you didn't like that came with your engine. So I got an original set 68, original Chrysler factory valve covers, and here they are. We had a lot of viewers that were interested in this teardown on this Coronet 68 440. So we also had a lot of new subscribers because of this. So here we are, freshly built, new pistons with eagle rods, cast iron intake, exhaust manifolds, 1.5 stock stamped steel rockers, and we're ready to make a test. Since we're using the same intake manifold, I went through with a flashlight through the intake manifold that makes sure there's no bolts stuck inside, because I didn't want to have the same problem like he had. So I'm sure there's no bolts in this motor. And we had to do a little modification with the exhaust here, because my pipes are made for the 70 exhaust manifolds, which has the tilt this way. But in this case, we're using the same pipes. We're gonna go out with a couple of pieces. It's odd, but it's still gonna do the job. And I got my O2 sensor for the air-fuel ratio on the other side, and we're gonna do our testing with it. And if everything goes well, we're gonna install the original air cleaner and make a back-to-back test with the original air cleaner that came with the car. That's gonna be exciting, which I've never used one of these on the dyno. So I can't wait. So let's see how the motor goes. If everything goes well, let's gonna do some testing.
Yeah, what's it for?
4.350.
And the stroke?
3.750. Can't wait to finish this car. I could sure use the space in the garage.
Sharpen your pencils, engine building students. It's time for Nick's Tricks.
When you build an engine from the factory with the exhaust manifolds, from the factory when the engine was assembled, they did not use a gasket for the exhaust manifold to the cylinder head. So of course today they, because of age, manifolds warp and this and that, they're bound to leak for sure. So we put an exhaust manifold gasket. In this case, I always use them, and the best part is you don't see them. If you take a look, you don't see it bridged. This is the way the gasket comes. So I got a trick. What I do is I cut off this piece here and this piece here, and then I put on the gasket, and it looks like it's from the factory without any gaskets. Of course, not too many builders know that. That's one of my tricks. And they're right there. You hardly see them at all, but it's there. You're sure it's not gonna leak for sure, and it looks factory. And I've noticed a lot of people when they build engines, they put it like this with the exhaust manifold. Sure, it does the job, but you know what? From the factory, you don't have this piece here. Next time you guys at a car show, if you see one of my engines, take a look. When it has exhaust manifolds, the gasket is there, but you don't see it. It's one of Nick's tricks here at Nick's Garage. Okay, are we ready? And you know, this is the way the factory built the engine. They had the exhaust manifolds on the engine, and they were painted with the engine. And then when they do an initial startup, you're gonna see the manifolds cook, turn dark black or gray or whatever, and that's factory. So we're gonna get it started, and you guys are gonna view this right now. So we're gonna get it started, rev it to 2,000 RPM for 20 minutes to break in the cam, and at the same time, we're gonna check the timing, and of course, you guys are gonna see the paint burn off the exhaust manifolds while it is breaking in. Are we all set? Here we go. We got our O2 sensor on, ignition, fuel pump, pump it, and here we go. You ready? Let's see how it goes.